Alright, what's going up, guys? Another day. And it's cold, so of course my starter goes out. Yeah. So we get to pull it out. It's raining, it's cold. I've had to pop start my car way too many times. It's a pain in the ass. We're gonna pull the starter out. I got a rebuild kit. It's $8.75 and a can of brake clean, so $10, and you can rebuild your starter. Get a pretty much brand new starter. They don't go bad. It's just, they get dirty. I promise when we pull that thing out, it's going to be filled with dirt and grease. So, I'm going to hop right into it. Let's get this thing pulled out. Good tip when it's cold and wet outside, wear gloves so your hands don't get wet. It's not just for the oil. Before we start, disconnect the power or ground wire so you're not sparking everything, blowing fuses. So all you have is this power wire, the signal wire coming off the starter, the bolt on the bottom of the starter, and I don't know if you guys can see that top bolt in the left, right underneath this purple sensor. That's the top bolt. And that's all the stuff you have to do to get the starter out. I got the starter out of the car. Now I'm just gonna clean it off really quick, try to make it look pretty so that when I start taking it apart, I don't get dirt everywhere or inside of it. So I'm gonna be using brake parts cleaner and paper towels. Pretty easy. I'm just gonna wipe it down. Mine's not too dirty. If it was worse, I'd probably use a wire brush. Now I got it all cleaned up. I'll pop it open. There's 2 Phillips and 2 8mm bolts. And then once you get those 2 bolts out, the cap pops off. And this is the main piece I'm going to be replacing today. And wow. Hold on, let me get the new one so I can show you guys this comparison. So here's the new one I got from Napa. It was, I think, $9.13 after tax, $9.14 after tax. These are the feet that actually go bad. They actually ride on this is what supplies power to the actual starter. Now you can see that these feet stick out a good bit on either side. And then there's this plastic cap to hold them in because they'll shoot out. There's nothing left of these. They're completely worn down. So that's the main reason we're rebuilding the starter, but we're also going to take it apart and clean it because as they wear down, there's a bunch of carbon deposit. And you can actually see that, I should keep my phone away from that. This is a magnet, and this is copper that's floating inside of it. It actually magnetizes back in. You get to kind of like really pull it out, and you can see how dirty that is. This is my first time taking it apart. Oh yeah, and that's why my starter doesn't work anymore. I'm gonna start cleaning this out so we can get a better look at what's happening. You guys can probably see these little gouges on the copper wind. They're actually supposed to be there. What they do is they grab dirt and debris and metal fragments and cups them in there so it doesn't damage the rest of the starter. You can see there's like a gouge right there. But I'm actually gonna take a piece of sandpaper to this. It's gonna look brand new when I'm done. Also to here, it's really important that you sand this down, but very lightly. I'm only going to be using like 800 or 1000 grit sandpaper. You guys can probably see the damage done from the grime and dirt inside the starter on that copper. This is pitting. I can't really do anything about this. I just hit it with 1000 grit, and this is really, really soft sandpaper. Like this is, it's literally like construction paper. It's not very coarse. So that's about as good as I'm going to get. I don't really want to take off too much material, but that looks pretty good down there. Look at that. Still a million times better than what it was. And I kind of went through and wiped this down. Probably going to wipe it down one more time because I've been touching it with my hands. Okay, so I popped the magnet off the actual gears. I'm going to get this thing kind of cleaned up a little bit quicker. Get these cleaned out and put some fresh grease in there. We should be good to go. So I got this all cleaned up the best I could. Some of that's just stained in there. I'm not going to be able to get it out. But it looks good, looks a lot better. So I'm gonna start cleaning out the magnet and get that put on. Okay, I got everything cleaned up. I got it all almost put back together. And now I'm about to put in the brushes. So when I put those in, I get a screwdriver and I hold this spring back out of the way, slide it in, and then put the spring over it. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. So don't let that scare you. It only took me a second. So then when you install it, you're gonna slowly push it on and this ring is gonna pop out and this will wrap around here. And then just like that, you're done. And then this wire right here bolts onto where the existing one is. When you clean this cap, you can see that it's really shiny and stuff. This is where actually most of that material from this feet go. So I'm gonna clean this up real quick, and then it'll be ready to be put back together. If you have everything sitting in here, kind of the way that it did when it came out, And the bolts should pretty much line up. A little off, but you can kind of use the bolt to line it up. I'm gonna slide these bolts in, do this last power wire, and just like that, it's done. So I'm gonna go test it real quick, make sure she spins up good, and now I won't have to pop start my car anymore. Well, this thing works like brand new. When I tested it, it shot out my hand almost. So I definitely know it's working. I'll throw it on and we get to start my car. All right, I got the 2 bolts in, made sure it was flush. Got the power wire bolt and the signal wire. Now I'm gonna get it off the jack and the jack stand, and let's see if it works. About the bay. Okay, moment of truth. The starters never sounded like that. It sounds brand new. Like the whole time I've owned this car, it's never sounded like that. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys later.